All right, Shalom. I'd like to first start off giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who taught us this truth. Peace and blessings to all the Akim, or the brothers across the four corners of the world that are pushing this truth and faith and its sincerity, who are of the hopeful elect. I want to also say Shalom to all those that believe in Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, and support this truth. I want to go into this evening a lesson on endurance and us that are in the faith enduring to the end because that's what we're striving. We're striving to make it unto the end, or as the scriptures say, endure. The ones that endure to the end, the same shall be saved. So I just want to go into through the Spirit and bring out some scriptures and talk about endurance. Now if you look up the word endurance on the etymology online dictionary, it tells you that the word endurance means to make hard. The word endurance means to make hard. So keep that in mind, and shalom. Keep that in mind. So I want to start off with some starting scriptures, because everybody is not going to endure to the end. Obviously, only the elect will. So I'm going to start with 2 Timothy chapter 4, verse 3. Yeah, 2 Timothy chapter 4, verse 3. It reads, "For the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine," meaning the ones that at one point believed in this truth, believed that they were the Israelite, believed in the true doctrine. And I'm going to say this, the true doctrine is taught starting with the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. That's who the Most High bestowed the truth of these scriptures upon. So I'll start over on this scripture. It says, "For the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine, but after their own lust shall they heap to themselves teachers having itching ears." So, we've witnessed this happening in the truth. Of course, the apostles, the elders on down, you brothers have witnessed it, on different levels. And if you go into that word endure, it one of the definitions, it says to be erect or firm. And erect is what? Hard. When you erect, you hard, or firm. When you firm, you hard. So the ones a lot of these guys that fall out the truth, that stray away from sound doctrine, is because the truth is just too hard for them, which is not really a hard thing. The doctrine is too rough for them. It's some hard sayings in this book, man. There's some hard sayings in this Bible, like the apostles had that phrase, the nastiness of the scriptures. They was putting out a series of lessons going into different accounts of the scriptures, called the nastiness of the scriptures. Some guys can't deal with that there's a law on rape in the scriptures. Some people can't deal with you got guys that want Esau to make it. A lot of these guys are still in that Baptist church spirit. They be falling out the truth, man, because it's just too rough for them, man. Because here in this society, we've been taught our whole lives pretty much how to be a straight up pussy, man. If you want to be real about it, the way we was brought up here in Babylon the Great and around the world, but especially here in America, Babylon the Great, you were brought up soft. You were brought up in the wrong way, man. Brought up in that Western Western mind frame, you know. So I'm gonna go back to the scripture. Say some. I'll read it again. It says, "For the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine." We in that time, man. A lot of guys are not enduring sound doctrine. They falling out the truth because they didn't. They wasn't doable. You know, they wasn't doable. Hey, Shalom, my Israel, the chosen. Shalom, brother. You know, you gotta be hard in this thing, man. You know, you gotta be willing to give up your. You gotta be willing to give up. I'm gonna say give up, but put your family, so to speak, secondary. Your wife, if you have a wife, your kids, put them secondary. You know, and put this truth first. But if you go over to Nate and them camp, that's IUIC or ISUPK, or just back into the world, you know, they not dealing with the truth of these scriptures, man. The truth is that, you know, a lot of Israelites are gonna die, man. A lot of people don't want to accept that. So I got another scripture. This is Mark chapter 4, and this is verse 17, and this is the word. It's the word of words from Yahushua as he was going into the parable of the sower. So I'm gonna get straight to the point. It's Mark chapter 4, verse 17, and it reads, well, okay, I read verse 16. "And these are they likewise which are sown on stony ground, who when they have heard the word, immediately receive it with gladness." It's a lot of that happened. That happened to a lot of guys that was in this truth. They received the word. They were excited. You know, some brothers, you know, well, not brothers, were the niggas really, that fell out, that didn't make that wasn't durable. They won't fire you, so to speak. You know, they was a scripture guy. Some of them, you know, they were real. They knew a lot of breakdowns. So I'm gonna read on. It says, verse 17, "And have no root in themselves." So it says, "And so endure, but for a time." So the word is the seed that's being sown on us, which we represent the ground in this parable. You know, the different grounds where you sow the seeds on, and see what type of seed come from that ground. And it's saying in this case, they received the word with gladness, but there was no root in them. So they endured for a little while, but the word didn't catch in their spirit, so to speak, you know, so that the word could grow. It says, I read on, it says, well, I read from the top, it says, "And have no root in themselves, and so endure but for a time. Afterward, when affliction or persecution arises, for the word's sakes, immediately they are offended." You know, and a lot of these guys get offended. You know, we've been seeing many examples of guys fall out this truth that were taught. They were taught by the apostles and the elders, a great millstone, and then they turn around and they're offended at the teachings. You know, what you really not offended at. Your offense is not against the apostles and the elders, a great millstone, but the offense really is against Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. You know. So, you know, like I said, I'm wanting to, you know, do this video because we're in that time where a lot more guys are gonna fall out this truth that are not doable, or not, that can't that don't have endurance, which means to make hard, you know, to stand firm in this truth. You know, and when you catch the hell and you catch the fire of being in this truth, that's what makes you hard when you constantly go through the building, you know, your building process in this truth. A big part of it is catching the trials and tribulations, you know, that you are faced with, you know. And when you overcome that trial, then you're made hard. And then when another trial comes your way and you make it through that trial, then you're made even harder, you know. So I'm gonna go from there. Um, get Second Timothy chapter 2, verse 3. This is a common scripture that we bring out often. And I don't want to make this video too long. I just want to, you know, touch on this because it is of grave importance. You know, it's very important. You know, endurance in this truth. So 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 3, and it reads, "Thou therefore endure hardness as a good soldier of Yahushua Mashiach." You know, this is words of encouragement. Yeah, Paul was saying, endure hardness as a good soldier of Yahushua Mashiach. You know, because you're going to get hit with tribulations. You're going to get hit with trials. You know, there are hard sayings in this book, meaning, you know, there's death and destruction in these scriptures, man. When you read Ezekiel, I believe the 2nd chapter, around the last verse of that chapter, it tells you that, well, know what? I'm going to go ahead and get it real quick. It's Ezekiel chapter 2, verse 10. It says, "And he spread it before me." He spread the roll, because the Most High told Ezekiel to eat the whole roll. And now it's saying, "And he spread it before me, and it was written within and without, and there was written therein lamentations, mournings, and woe." So that's predominantly what's contained inside the scriptures, man. There's a lot of death, destruction, lamentations is written in this book, you know, and you gotta deal with it. Like the Apostle Tahar said, you can't bring your emotions into these scriptures, man. You know, because your emotions really get you killed, man. Especially in a time of war, and we're in a time of war. We're in a time of spiritual war. And your emotions will get you killed. You know. So on to the next scripture, and I got a couple of more scriptures, and I'm gonna close it out. All these scriptures that I bring out got the word endurance in them. You know, the first two scriptures is talking about the ones that couldn't endure because of persecutions, because of they had an issue with the doctrine, so they went to a different doctrine that was more subtle. You know, that was smooth. This is James chapter 5, verse 11. James chapter 5, verse 11. And read, "Behold, we count them happy which endure." You know, that's the mindset. You know, that's the mindset we supposed to be in, man, to be, you know, happy to be enduring, man. And this is what James was saying, man. The ones that endure, you know, it says, well, we count, and I'll read it again. It says, "Behold, we count them happy which endure. Ye have heard of the patience of Job. Job endured," you know, that's a prime example. Job endured trials, tribulations, really total destruction to itself, man. He lost it all. Health was bad, you know. He had the boils from the crown of his head to the sole of his foot. You know, lost his children, his woman. He lost it all, man. And Job was endured. He endured through it. He was made hard through that. It says, "And have and have seen the end of the Lord, that the Lord is very pitiful and of tender mercy. So if you stand the test of endurance, you know, which is really measured out over time. It's measured out over time if you're doable or not. Time will tell, and this applies to us all, man. So, we must pray and hope that we will remain doable throughout our course in this truth, man. And that Yahweh Bashim Yahushai don't take the spirit from you. And if you make it through all of that, the Most High is gonna have, he's gonna bestow his tender mercies upon us, which ultimately is us being delivered from nuclear destruction. Other brothers around the world that are not in Babylon the Great, but being delivered from calamities in a time of total destruction, man, because the destruction is gonna hit all over the planet globe. It's gonna be a global crisis. America is not just gonna be the only place that there's all these different calamities coming upon. It's gonna come across the whole planet Earth, And I got one more scripture. I'm gonna end it on this scripture. It's Mark, back in the book of Mark, chapter 13, verse 13. These words of encouragement, man, to stay hard, man. Stay hard. This is Mark 13 and verse 13. It says, "And ye shall be hated of all men for my name's sake, but I'm gonna say this too. A lot of guys can't deal with the energy they get from the world. Being scoffed at, being hated of all men, being looked at as the filth of the world, because that's what we looked at as. You got to take that, man. Let that make you hard. It says, but he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. He that endure unto the end, that maintains his firmness, that stands up, that is erect, that is made hard unto the end, stays hard unto the end, man. Those are the ones that's gonna be saved, man. This book is not for you soft guys out there, man, that can't take the roughness and the heaviness of these scriptures. They can't take being rebuked. A lot of guys can't take getting rebuked, get cussed out, and then fall out the truth, man. But that's pretty much it, man. With that, I hope that some edification came out of this. I encourage brothers to go look up that word endure. It's I know it's two different words for endure. It may be more in the New Testament. And one of them it says to be erect or firm, and that represents being hard, with that, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who taught us this truth. And peace and blessings to all the Akim across the four corners of the world that are pushing this truth and faith and sincerity, who are the hopeful elect. And Shalom.